people. Que pasa, sapa, say what they do. Welcome to Crime Time News, where the difference is in the meds. Call it news with a buzz. One of the reasons why I do videos on YouTube is to make people be aware of what is going on. So therefore, if you listen to what I say, listen to the instruction and follow that instruction from start to finish, it might save you from being a victim and even worse. Save your life. People take you away before your time has come. This part of the video is called Karma Came Fast. This man got the new law, the new amendment under the Firearm Act. He was one of the earliest recipients. I am speaking about Kadeen Buchanan, 21-year-old, or 23-year-old, sorry. Based on the information, it is said that on November of 2022, Mr. Buchanan was surfing the internet looking for intended victims. He was looking for phones and people that are willing and able to give him phones by force, by being under gunpoint. He found a victim and he made arrangements to meet this victim at some sorts of popo station, Central Popo Station to be specific. Apparently, that complainant heard my videos and heard when I said, if you're going to meet somebody and sell any sorts of phone, jewelry, whatever, meet them at the Popo Station. That would be some sorts of deterrent if they have any sorts of ill intention. She followed that to a T. So therefore, him link her, they make arrangement to meet at the next day. The day that they were supposed to meet, the complainant, a female, had 4 phones in her possession. I guess she had the phone that this man wanted, Mr. Buchanan, and she had others. Just in case he did not want that one, she had other options to show him. So she went, or she called him, and they made arrangements to meet. When she called him, it seems as if he had a change of heart. He no longer wanted to meet at the Popo Station, Central Popo Station that is. On the day when they were supposed to meet, he told her, meaning the seller, the thief, Mr. Buchanan, that, you know, sir, I have a change of plan. I want to meet you at a church that is down the street from the Popo Station, in the same general area vicinity. She was kind of hesitant, but she agreed. I guess she wanted to complete the sale. She would divert from the instruction that I gave her and other persons. She would learn to regret it. So she agreed, complied, even though something told her that something not sound right, she smelled a rat. However, she went with it. They went and they met Mr. Buchanan, and a friend unexpectedly was there with him. When they pulled up to the church, Mr. Buchanan got in the vehicle. The lady said, I am not very comfortable with selling my phones here at this church. Why did you change the plan? Mr. Buchanan said, baby, no worry, man. Everything cool, everything cook, everything curry. Don't worry, be happy. They then noticed that a next individual opened the door and stepped inside. Then they knew without a shadow of a doubt, something in a something. Me not only smell a rat, me see a snake, me see a thief, me see the typical criminal that I've heard about on True Jamaica Buzz and blogs like those. The people, meaning Mr. Buchanan and his accomplice, start to shout at the people, Give me your money. Give me this. Give me the phone. Give me this. Give me that. Give me ass, DEAD and cow fat. Give me everything where you have or else. Uno ago DEADING. These people had no sort of choice because Mr. Buchanan's accomplice did wheel and pop off that toll. So therefore, them assess the situation and realize that, listen, these people look serious and even the toll look even more serious. So therefore, they handed over everything, meaning the 4 phones, meaning $50 US cash and $1,000. And the report even mentioned a kerchief. I don't know why. After the victims got scammed, shammed and bamboozled because they did not listen to my instruction, they thought the next best thing to do is go to the Popo station and make a report. That they did. Good thing for them. I guess they were taking the Popo back to the location in which they lost their goodies. Upon driving to that location, guess who they saw? They saw Mr. Kadeen Buchanan standing on the corner. They were shocked. Their jaws dropped. Them start to wave to the Popo. See the dirty boy there. See him there over there, so. The Popo then irks. Press on them brakes. Pull over. Jam him up. Jack him up. Search him. When they search, they found 4 cell phones. 50 US from the people. 2,000 Jamaican from the people. Cell phone also from the people. And that kerchief that I mentioned before, that I thought was insignificant. However, it would turn out to be evidence. So pretty much Mr. Buchanan got caught with his hand in the cookie jar in the bag, the phone, the cash, and the kerchief. Needless to say, he was locked up. Needless to say, justice was swift. He was sentenced the other day. He was sentenced to 23 years for his crime and also 13 years, 3 months and 16 days for the toll and also the ammunition. Robbery with aggravation was his charge, one of his charges. His lawyer had the audacity in a court to step up and I tell the judge, foolish. Him I say, Your Honor, but my client is a college-bound student. My client has no prior history of any sort of criminality. Just forget the fact that my client made arrangement, mastermind, him and his crooked friend with some sort of tool, jam up the people, hold them at gunpoint and take away their stuff, their goodies. Overlook that. I want you to give him a sentence reduction. The judge then said, well, I will give him good time for the time that he has spent. However, under this new amendment, Firearm and Robbery Act, my hands are pretty much tied behind me. The only thing that I can do for your client, sir, is to give him 21 years, 3 months and 16 days, and also 13 years, 3 months and 16 days for the fire piece, the robbery, 20-something years. So therefore, he got a reduction. Those charges are to run concurrent. So therefore, he will have to do the better part of 21 years for 4 cell phones in which he did not even get a chance to buy a chip for them. He pretty much took a gamble and he came out up SHITS Creek without any sort of paddle. So when you weigh the situation, why be penny wise and pound foolish? Why seek people's stuff, rob people for them cell phone, 4 cell phone, 50 US, 2,000 Jamaican, and their 4 mentioned kerchief, just to be caught in a couple of minutes afterwards. Lose your freedom for 21 years. 3 months and 16 days on top of the time you already did. Does that make any sorts of sense to you? Young men out there, parents out there, guardians out there, these people are serious, and rightfully so, based on the fact that they are fighting some sorts of crime monster. They are going to make an example out of anybody they catch. And it is not going to be up to the discretion of the judges, because we see, if we leave it up to them, them are going to do all sorts of foolishness. So therefore, their hands are tied behind them because they are incompetent. They do not realize the reality of the situation in Jamaica. Desperate times calls for desperate measures. Point blank and period. Further on in the news, it is called the new amendment of the Robbery and Firearm and S-H-O-O-T-I-N-G Act. It is in full effect, and these young hoodlums, criminals, they are feeling the pinch. I am speaking about an incident that occurred in a place called Dover District, that is in St. Anne, and not to be specific, where it is said that maybe about a month or so ago, a construction worker was home at about 10 p.m. Him hear some shuffling in him yard. When him go outside, he was approached by a young man. That young man's name is Mr. Miguel Francis, sorry. It is said that Mr. Miguel wheel and pop off a toll, pie up the older construction worker in him neck. The construction worker hold on upon him hand, hold on upon the toll. There was some sort of tussle going on. It is said that that was when the toll got off and hit Mr. Francis in his stomach. The construction worker then ran off, collapsed in the road. It is said that Mr. Francis also ran. Don't know if he was chasing that man. Don't know if because his blood was still hot and it was boiling. However, he did collapse about 15 meters from the victim. People find the victim, carry him to the hospital. He was taken in a serious condition that is. It is said that the popo were summoned. When the popo them come and search the place, them find Mr. Francis maybe about 15 meters or so from the victim. They then rush Mr. Francis to the place of recovery. Coincidentally, it was the same place in which they took the victim. Think he's a construction worker, could be a farmer. Don't quote me. It was then the victim said, hold on a minute, wait a minute there. Now the same man, this was just pie me up in my neck when me hold on upon the toll, and it seems as if him get hit too. Needless to say, Mr. Francis was charged for aggravated ASSAULT with some sorts of firepiece, possession of a prohibited weapon, which would be illegal hot tool, and also ammunition. He is going to also be facing that fresh 15 years minimum mandatory for just the toll in your hand, the toll in your bag. Whenever you do any sorts of act, as in pieing up some person in a them neck, meaning that ATTEMPTED take away, more than likely it is going to be amped up significantly. So we can assume that this man is going to get at least a 25 to a 30 piece, a double bucket, them call it a KFC. Now, the good thing is that Mr. H0T, when he was taken to the hospital, he was paralyzed. So therefore, just imagine, you doing 20 plus, 30 plus years in a paralyzed state in one of our fine institutions, penal that is. When you think about the word penal, he pretty much got FUC, KED. Point blank and period. Further on in the news and continuing on the theme of the church, there's a saying that goes something like this: when man a plan, God a wipe out. Do not mess with the church. God is always watching you. As a matter of fact, the surveillance camera at the church is watching you. I am speaking about an incident that took place at a church in a Montego Bay, St. James that is, and involves a 28-year-old man. His name is R0BB3RY. It is said that the pastor, the preacher, them lock up the church on that given day. The pastor, the preacher, thought that everything was safe. Who is going to break into a church when we are protected by the BLOOD of God? It seems as if Mr. Graham did not fall in that category, because Mr. Graham, it seems as if he was in church and him realized that day there was on and popping. A whole lot of money was in the collection plate. And him know the pastor now go take with the money that day. Him go make it cool off before he move it, because mongoose and thief a watch. So the pastor go home. The next day him come back 8 o'clock in the morning. Him come so put in him key, hold on upon the angle. When him look, the door just open. When him go inside, him realize hold on, mongoose there in the chicken cub. Him look, things missing. Him look, cash missing. The safe or the chest, it not look the same. It was compromised. It seems as if the pastor make a conscious decision. The last time he leave it up to the man up above. The man go underground and broke into the place. Take off the lock and thief for everything. I am going to file an official report with the Popo, the relevant authority. The relevant authority come in, search a surveillance camera like me say, and spot out and see say, then hold on a minute. Now Mr. Hardly this on the video. We don't know the man, needless to say, he was arrested and he was charged for breaking into a house, meaning the house of the Lord, and also larceny. Now, I know that most persons are going to say, how much of a low life can you be to break into a church? Jamaicans are a set of law-abiding, well, not law-abiding, Christ-like people. Even that low they will not go. People that has changed significantly with this new generation. We see say people are running a church, pie up man, pie up woman. So therefore them breaking into a church, them probably figure say that is a lesser evil. So therefore them are going to do it, especially when they're under the influence of CRACK, or under the influence of laziness, love people thing, thieving syndrome, hyena syndrome. People, I hope that this man gets the brunt of the law, and I hope that the man up above really make sure his life is miserable when he goes to hell and meets his maker. Point blank and period. So anyways, people, thanks once again for checking out my video. If you appreciate videos like these, please show your appreciation by liking, commenting, sharing and subscribing to my channel. That is how YouTube promotes videos like these to like-minded, sensible persons like yourself. Bless up.